Hey guys, this is Eric Ahmad coming to you with another presentation or story time, not presentation, or story time. But what I'm gonna talk to you about is the presentation that changed everything for me. I was a sophomore in college and I hated public speaking, but it was a course that I had to take. It was a requirement for me to take this course to go to the advanced classes. So I had to take it. And I hated public speaking. I was fearful. And I'm a pretty tough guy. I mean, growing up in the neighborhood where I'm from, you either learn how to fight or flight. And I was one of those guys that never backed down from a challenge. But when it came to public speaking, that was not my thing. So, with that said, sophomore in school, I gotta take this course. And I made up a lie to the professor. I was like, hey, when it was my time to present my presentation to the class, I told the professor I had a toothache. I said, Professor, I can't make it. I have a toothache. I see the dentist on this day. And she was very blunt. It's kind of funny when I think about it now. She said, you could go to the dentist, but just know you're gonna have to come back and see me next semester. And I was like, dang, gotta take it, no way around this. So what I did was, went to the library. When I realized what day I had to present, I went to the library. And the first book that I picked up was from an author from my hometown. And there were two things I like about that book. One, he wrote about his deceased mom. I had a deceased mom that I loved too, dearly. She passed away, and I was like, okay, I can write about my mom. So I sat and read his book in one take, one setting. I digest everything. The second thing I like about that book was it was in a poem form. He wrote it in poetry. So I love poetry. I mean, I love rap music at the time, but poetry was my thing. So since the age of 12, I always studied poetry. I would write poems whenever I went through something. I would never share it with anyone, put it under my mattress, but I learned that skill and I became good at it. So communicating that way was easy to me. So I decided after reading that book to write a poem like that guy about my mom. So I got a pen and a pad and I started writing. I was writing as fast as I can think. I was writing these words down. It was just flowing through me. And at the end of writing, I realized the date that I was going to present to the class was the day that my mom transitioned. So I was like, wow, this is perfect. I got like goosebumps all over me. Man, like, this must be divine intervention, I was thinking at the time. So I wrote it. It was time for me to present. I stepped up to the mic and I just started reading. And once I started reading and presenting in front of the class, my voice started cracking up. My hands were sweaty, like Eminem. My palms were sweaty. I was nervous. But one thing I remember, I said, this is my mom. And my mom always taught me to, whatever you do, try to be the best at it. So I said, I'm gonna give my best in this poem. And so I started reading and reading and reading. And at the end, I looked up from my paper at the podium and I looked at the class and everybody in there was bawling. Everybody was crying. I mean, bawling, tears. Even the professor was tearing up. And they all gave me a standing ovation. And as I was walking out of the class, you know, people was greeting like, man, that was an amazing poem you wrote about your mom. One of my fellow students from New York, or one of my peers, he walked up to me and he was like, man, you changed everything for me. He said that was the most powerful speech I done heard. He said, man, I'm a dude and I was bawling and he was like straight up like it touched him. And in that moment, I realized that sometimes when we go through life, in business and life, we go through things not for ourselves, but for other people. You never know who's watching or listening to you on a daily basis. So I encourage you to share your story. And I'll leave you with this. I have a principle that I live by. I'm very slow to talk about people's plights and problems and challenges. But I'm very quick to talk about mine. And when I'm talking about and sharing the problems that I had in life that I faced with and I overcame, I always talk about how I overcame that problem. Because I know someone is listening, whether I know it or not, whether I'm on video or not. So I encourage you to share your story. Sometimes we go through things for other people to see that there is a possibility to overcome whatever you go through. So with that said, if you would like to connect with me more on a personal level or business level, you can reach me at ericahmad.com. That's EricAhmad.com. Let's connect and move forward from where we are. And I hope to see you on the other side of your challenges. And like I said, share your story. Peace.